Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tavern Watch Plays. I am your humble GM and storyteller, Joe Perez, here on this wonderful, probably the last section of this adventure of Outgunned Adventure, a wonderful cinematic storytelling game where I like to do things like throw like weird bits of rocks at people or try to drown them, because that's cinematic, right? Uh, Joining me on this adventure are several friends of the site. We're going to start with Eric.
Hey, I'm Eric O'Day, and I'm playing Savar Khan, fighter, brawler, jerk with a heart of gold, a bit overconfident, as we've seen in some of his attempts to do some stuff today.
Wonderful. And as always on our adventures, well, most of the time on our adventures, joining us is Liz.
Hello, I am Elizabeth Harper, and I am playing Victoria or Vic Shing, and I'm a little worried about our current predicament because our lives are probably more valuable than treasure, but maybe she's wrong.
One may never know. Next up is Matt, who always accompanies me on my journeys.
Hello, Matt. I'm playing Natalia Morozova, who's kind of upset that she's not going to get to share her epic backstory, but that's what happens. She's a daredevil, reluctant hero, and currently kind of standing in the hold of an upside-down boat, looking out, going, "Okay, this is probably the worst idea I've ever had, but let's see if it works."
And bringing up the rear of the party is Phil.
Hi, I'm Phil, and I'm playing Raymond Surrey, a professor who is the rear of the party because he's a big coward. Right now, he's clinging to a rope for dear life. But how did we get here, you may ask?
I will indeed ask, Phil, how did we get here?
We got here through a series of good decisions. So we started the second episode of our journey by picking up on the cliffhanger at the tiled path before the statue of Odin. Luckily, Natalia had chosen correctly, and we made our way across to the statue, which slid out of the way, revealing even more cavern heading down into the depths of the earth. We followed a narrow gantry over a raging sea below, which I very carefully didn't look down at, and made our way into what almost seems like the center of a frozen over volcano. But it's very warm in here. There's ice that's constantly melting and refreezing, but more importantly, suspended very precariously between a rock and a hard place is a Viking drakkar, which we found our way up onto and found that, yes, it's just as precarious as we thought, but hey, it's got a hold that we can try to get into, and maybe there's treasure inside. And it was all going well until Savar swung the door open a little too hard, causing the boat to literally turn itself upside down. It's still suspended for now over the chasm, but as mentioned, Vic got to safety somehow. Nat is standing in the empty hold. Raymond is clinging to a rope for dear life, and I believe the last we saw of Savar was him attempting a very cool stunt and then falling somewhere below.
That is correct. In this particular moment, Savar had tried to run along the side of the vessel to stay on top of it as it was turning over, basically going from the deck of the ship, trying to get up onto the keel, and managed to fail spectacularly and is now currently falling. Now, we get to introduce a new mechanic for Outgunned. On your character sheets, and for those of you that maybe are looking at this at home, there is something called Death Roulette. And it is it's a gun with 6 chambers in it, like a revolver would normally have. In this particular instance, anytime that a character would be very close to death or have like a instant death type scenario, we roll on the Death Roulette. And the key is to get equal to or above the number of currently that you have on there. Now, some of you are looking at the sheet and be eagle-eyed to say that everybody already has the first slots filled in. And that's true, because the first time that you face almost certain death, like any good action movie, we are going to cinematically tell you how that happens, that you get out of it. But you get to mark that second box, which then means the next time you get into a situation where you may instant die, you're going to have to roll a d6. and you're going to need a 2 or higher. And the chances of you failing go up exponentially. Now, I may be flubbing this just a little bit because I believe if you equal to it, it's supposed to be a failure, but we're not doing that today because that would be not fun. And we're just going to go with how I said it is because I'm the DM. I can do whatever the heck I want. So in this particular case, Eric, I'm going to have you mark in the second section of your death roulette because knowing your character and your dice, this is probably going to come up again.
Okay.
And as Savar falls, it's a good thing you had tied yourself off to that tether earlier in the last episode. In fact, it was one of the first things that you did, and you and the audience, as they look on, have forgotten that you had done so. As you descend down past where the masts are, the rope snaps, and maybe 2 of the pitons that were securing that rope snap with it, but the third one holds and slams you hard into the rock. You're going to take 2 points of grit as you are jostled and have basically made it even harder for you to get back up into the ship. But you are saved from certain death this time.
Oh, it's a piece of cake.
You all see this. You see Savar definitely worse for wear, but alive. And I'm going to ask you all, since Natalia is already in the hold, how do the rest of you make your way in?
I'm technically tied to him, right? Because we'd set up that I was tied to him.
For cinematic purposes, we're going to say that rope snapped because it's more dramatic to have him fall further.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm in the boat, so I don't need to figure out how to get in the boat. So I'm going to look around.
Okay. And you notice, well, nothing. At least not at first. It looks like it's a bunch of dried goods that have long since rotted, textiles that have gone to shreds, just decayed over time. A bunch of crates that look like they may have once held something but no longer hold anything other than dust. We'll get back to you in a second as we go further into the searching, but we're going to start with the rest of the party. We'll start with we'll go with Liz.
So how far down is he from the ship?
We're going to say like 20-ish feet below the mast.
20-ish feet. Do I still have some rope on me?
You are an adventurer. We're going to say yes.
Okay. I mean, I know I grabbed Raymond earlier with some rope, so I would like to try to we're on the bottom. The ship's upside down. Let me think. This seems very precarious. I would like to try. I'm hanging on to a rope in the rigging. I would like to try to take my rope and get it around, maybe the yard arm, and try and swing it over to Savar and see if I can secure a rope well enough in this rigging so that he could climb up.
All right. You tell me what skills you're going to use to do that.
Oh boy. Could I use know as a knowledge of knots and the physics of climbing and just having experience with climbing and tying things off and dangling from ropes to certain death?
I will say yes, we can justify that there.
And let's say nerves or focus. What do you think?
Well, no, you got to tell me because either one can be applicable. You got to tell me how it applies.
Then I will do focus because it's like, okay, you need to just let's not think about what's going on around us and focus on getting a really good knot in a really secure place and making sure that Savar can get this rope.
Okay, go ahead and make that roll.
Well, let's see. That's 6 dice. Let's see. I have a pair of 6s and a pair of 3s. If I do a reroll, I have to give up one of those
Yep.
basic successes, right?
Yep.
I'm going to keep with 2 basic successes. I don't want to risk
Well-
doing worse.
Well, no, you can't do worse. That's the thing. Like again, remember for those of you at home, or maybe this is your first episode, which if it is, what are we doing? Go back and listen to episode 1 through. The number of successes you receive ultimately doesn't matter. What matters is the
Okay.
level of success. There's almost
The level
no,
of success.
yeah, there's no reason
Okay.
really not to push the die.
Then I will do the reroll. 3 6s.
There you go. That's a critical success. We're going to
That's
say
actually 3 6s and 2 3s. So
there you go. You're able to secure the rope in such a way that you think that it's going to be absolutely just fine. You manage to also fling it out perfectly so that Savar will be able to use that to get back up into the vessel when Savar takes their action. And then since you're secured in the rigging, we're going to say that I'm assuming you don't want to stay out here secured to the rigging. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're trying to make your way into the
yeah,
hole.
I'd like to try to shimmy my way up the mast using the rigging as extra grip to pull myself up and make it over to that hold.
We'll say with
If
your
I can.
we'll say with your critical success, we're just going to loop that all in together.
Okay.
You're able to scramble your way into the hold. Then we're going to move over to Professor Raymond.
Yeah, I'm going to let Vic take care of the hard work of saving Savar, and I'm just going to try to clamber up into that hold using the rope that I've been clinging to. I feel like brawn plus dexterity makes sense. It's just plain old rope climbing.
I think I should be able to assist at least at the end when he gets close enough for me to grab his hand.
Yeah, sure. We'll say that you can try to add a die by extending your hand out.
Okay, so Raymond's middling at these two things. So here we go. Just a basic, so I'm gonna re-roll this. There we go. Critical success, 3 3s.
All right, you're able to clamber up just fine. You steel yourself. You again refuse to look down, and as far as you're concerned, Savar is 100% perfectly safe and sound, and not a level of concern. And you're just going to get into where, I'm going to air quote, solid ground is. And you make your way up, and at the last moment there, Natalia reaches out a hand, grabs you, and pulls you the rest of the way into the hold.
Yep.
Now we turn to Savar. Will your dice continue to tell a wonderful story? How are you going to get yourself up into the hold?
All right. Well, I've got the rope from Vic, so I am going to make a climb straight up. And
All
that's
right.
going to be, I would say, brawn dexterity. That's pretty good point there. And I've got, oh man, that's 4. So that's an extreme success.
Recovering from the shock of almost falling to your death, and using the deftness of your hands, you manage to push your way through and clamber up. It's almost graceful enough to be a acrobatic show as you pull yourself up the rope, leveraging your size or your reach, and you are up and in before you know it. And now we are going to go to the searching phase. Now, Natalia did have a few moments to look around, but again, repeated what everybody else I'm going to say here is that the hold looks basically empty. And then for anybody who is going to be looking, I will need, in this particular case, it is going to be a detect and... One moment. Focus and detect from anybody who wants to dig deeper than surface level.
Oh, that's like
absolutely.
That's Raymond's specialty. Yeah. Looking at things, that's where I'm a Viking.
2 5s and 2 1s, so 2 normal successes. Do I need more?
Again, the number of successes does not matter.
I know. No, I meant, do I need more than a success, like a normal success? Do I need a critical success here?
You should always try for a critical. There's no reason
All right,
not to try.
I'll re-roll these 2 dice then.
Um,
Give me
So
critical
now I've got
success
3.
for Raymond.
So now it's 3 successes.
Critical success for Vic. I'm want to look for any sort of hidden compartments, just sort of check up and down the hold for any maybe void spaces there might be if it looks empty.
Okay.
3 5s, but I'm not looking for void spaces so much as just, is there like anything intact in here? Anything that's curiously undamaged? Anything that didn't fall when the boat flipped over? Like, is there anything, like, if there's a chest that's bolted to the ceiling, that would have been bolted into the floor before, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So we have at least that for a critical success from Nat. You said you also had a critical success there, Vic?
Yep. 3 2s.
Wonderful. Raymond?
Critical success as well. 3 6s.
And then Savar? Were you looking, or were you just letting the others do the...
I'm going to catch my breath and try to maybe just sit in the corner and let them look around, because I have almost not quite lost interest, but definitely need a break from the puzzles and the searching.
All right. For those of you that received a critical success, you will notice a few things. Again, like I said before, there is nothing really intact in the hold here. Everything looks like it is aged out, except you all see it at the same time. It's a light glinting off of, we'll say, is a re-sparked torch, or maybe light streaming in from outside of the ship through maybe a hole in the hull. And you reach over and you look at it, and you pick up a gold coin. And then another glint catches your eye closer to the wall. And there's another gold coin. And then stuck partway through the wall of the hull on a crossbeam is another coin. And you look up and you see a crack in the bottom of the hull. And what looks like another coin lodged in the crack. You scramble your way up and you notice that there was indeed a false bottom to this boat. There is a void below the hull. So good luck on...
Was the ballast of this ship gold coins?
Funny you should mention that. You make your way in, you remove a few of the boards, because some of them have already become dislodged due to the ship turning upside down, and you clamber in, and what you see before you is a veritable mountain of treasure. Gold coins, jewels. You're looking at armor forged of like precious metals that probably should have already been decayed through the length of time. Maybe the hull was perfectly sealed. Maybe before the vessel was turned upside down, everything was like hermetically sealed. But it is definitely flawless. We're talking, even in the indeterminate time period of the 20s to 40s, millions of dollars worth of gold and jewels and treasure here within this chamber. And seated upon what now is an upside down golden chair, finely upholstered, is secured what looks like one last Viking corpse, decorated like a king, absolutely wearing a crown that is almost, I don't want to say stapled to the skull, but you can tell was definitely secured post-mortem. Yeah, you believe you may have found the last resting place of Eric the Red. What you see among the gold, though, is not necessarily what you're looking for, because it's just treasure, right? Why would Wylock hire you to just get basic treasure? Why would there be such elaborate steps to hide just a treasure, the last treasure of a king? That doesn't seem right.
Hey, Doc Raymond?
Yes.
You have the Eye of Odin thing?
Of course. It's from which of my pockets. Right here.
Are you going to use it? Or are you just handing it to me?
I'll hand it to you because I don't quite know what you want it for yet, and
Okay,
you seem to have an idea.
I'm going to hold it up so that I'm looking through my right eye, and I'm going to look at his eye socket.
Both eye sockets are empty, but you do notice that clutched in his hand is something. The bony hand is a disc that is glowing, that same blue that you had noticed on the tile.
Okay, when I look without the monocle, does it just look like his normal hand? Do I see the disc?
You see the disc in his hand. Yep.
What is that? I point to it.
Looks somewhat like a twin of the disc we have.
It's
I'm
glowing
assuming-
when I look through it.
I'm assuming one of you goes over to it and grabs it, or you got to tell me what you do here.
Yeah, I'll go over and I don't know if I want to take it from the dead man, but I want to at least look at it. Does it look a lot like the one we've got already? Like they're similar?
No. It's about the same size, but what it looks like is the entire thing is made of stone, but it looks greenish in color, almost prismarine. It looks like it is 2 circles with 3 rows in each circle with various symbols and characters hewn about them. At the top or the northern part of it is what looks like a trident carved out of mother of pearl placed upon it. And at the center, also made of mother of pearl, almost looks like a pointer or some form of like ledger or arm from a compass.
You said that. Okay, when you said that it was glowing when I looked at it through the eye, when I look at this through the eye more directly, are parts of it glowing or is the whole thing just glowing?
The whole thing is glowing.
That isn't going to help us.
I think we have another key of sorts. I'm going to attempt to take this from the dead man.
All right. It releases without a problem. The hand obviously is not exactly what it used to be. The fact that it held together this long, even after the ship was turned upside down, is absolutely phenomenal. It releases without a problem. And you are looking at the disc. It is now in your hand. And on the back, you see something that says or has an engraving. And it says, well, actually, let me ask, does the professor speak Greek?
I do.
Yeah, I'd say I feel like Latin and Greek are probably like the foundation of, if you're going into archaeology, I feel like those 2 languages are a certainty.
I would assume so, but I always, we got to ask.
Yeah.
I think Natalia and
I
Raymond
make a roll.
Well, we're going to get to that. Natalia and Raymond, you both clock that there is an inscription on this in Greek, but it is slightly worn. So whoever is trying to decipher it, I would need you to roll a focus and no check, please.
I'll assist him because there ain't no way I'm going to make that roll.
Yeah, I'll do that because I've got the free roll. Maybe I'm kind of like interpreting it out loud, and like if I get a word wrong, Natalia's like, no, that actually means that's actually conjugated as blah blah blah. Yeah, all right. So yeah, I have a free reroll when dealing with Greek isn't a dead language, but let's say ancient civilizations. In this case, unless I lose a die. Go. All right, let's see. I'm going to take the free reroll and try to make this something better than a basic success. How does an extreme success strike you?
That strikes me as a wonderful moment of cinematic storytelling that we're going to relay right here. You're turning it over in your hands and you're moving it around and you're trying to make sense of it, but like it doesn't make sense. You understand Greek. You even understand ancient Greek. You've studied the writings. Both of you have. And it's one of those things where like it should make sense, but it's like bits of letters. And then as you move the disc, you notice that the inner and outer circles move. Somehow they are contained between each other and can rotate. And as you rotate it, the words, the inscription, it's not actually faded. It just wasn't aligned. And it locks into place. Atlantis Nisos. Atlantis Island. In ancient Greek, inscribed on the back. And as you turn it back over to the front and you start rotating the wheels as well, this is a cipher wheel.
Oh, good. Savar's favorite thing. More puzzles.
This seems
Yeah,
probably what
know
Wheelock
enough
was
to
looking
read
for.
Atlantis.
Soul inside of an egg.
Sorry, everybody was talking over each other, including me. So we'll start.
Sorry.
What did Savar say?
I at least know enough to recognize the name Atlantis.
And then what did Natalia say?
Now, since said, on the island of Bouillon, I lay my soul inside an egg. And then I turned to Savannah and go, so you would recognize ancient Greek, which uses a completely different letter system? I didn't know that. Can you come tell us what these other symbols look like to you?
Well, no, but when Professor had muttered Atlantis under his breath, nobody missed it.
That is fair. The professor is prone to talking out loud. We know this.
That is simply a fact, yes. Otherwise, it'd be very boring cinema as we both stared at the back of a cipher silently.
I will say that as you do turn it over to the front, you notice that each of the rows, one row is Latin for each of the wheels. The outermost one is Latin, very, very much Latin characteristics. The second one is Greek. The third one is a language or symbolism you have never seen before.
So it's not Norse or anything like that.
It's not Norse at all. It is not Nordic. It's not Cyrillic. It is not Romantic in descent. This is a language structure that you have never seen, or at least not that you can make sense of. So unfortunately, you have two pieces that you don't have the key for the cipher, but you have the cipher itself. If you can figure out the key, you might be able to figure out what to do with this. But after everything, this does seem like this is what Wylock was after. I mean, the Lost Island of Atlantis is a adventure of a lifetime. It's a treasure of untold knowledge. And if any of the stories are to be believed, untold power. And for the world's sake here, we'll do a little bit of extra storytelling that is not in the adventure that I had whipped up because, I mean, if I don't modify it, what's the point? Atlantis was heralded as a ancient civilization, often thought of as mythological because it had things described in its ancient texts, in the ancient Greek, in the ancient Roman, that didn't make any sense. The ability to fly, the ability to grow crops without any sunlight, stories of powerful lasers or energy beams of death that they could unleash upon the world, a defense system of weaponry that far outmatched the time frame. We're talking stories of like cannons and guns before cannons and guns were created, as well as mythological creatures such as dragons and wyverns and sirens and kraken, all being at the beck and call of the citizens of the Lost Island of Atlantis, until all historical record of it seemed to cease. Which is why most scholars have assumed that this is some just legend. Like in Raymond's past, colleagues would have simply looked at this as cultural storytelling. You don't see something you understand, and we've talked about this before, like you see a giant lizard for the first time as you're traveling with merchants, you assume that that lizard now is, that story grows and grows and grows until that lizard becomes a dragon. Or, you know, maybe a sufficiently smooth ballista that fired rocks was then ornately designed or crafted in a way that made it look tubular or more streamlined and advanced than what you would have assumed for the time period. There is always logical explanations for everything But what if there wasn't? What if that is just everybody in the pursuit of academics justifying lost culture? And that's exactly why you're here, isn't it, Professor Raymond? Because lost civilizations are your specialty.
And we know that there's more than we can know, because the professor adventures more than his colleagues in the usual halls of academia.
And you've seen things that would pale even the hardiest of adventurers and would certainly cause your colleagues to have a heart attack. I will say, while this is going on, Savar is sort of maybe not as interested in this as maybe the rest of you are. Savar, something catches your eye, though, as you're staring at the corpse of what you can only assume is Eric the Red. And another glint. And it looks like it's in the rib cage, below the armor that, while is decaying, is not completely gone. What do you do?
Well, I suppose that I would be a little bit feeling useless at this point, and like I could use a bit of a discovery and contribute. So I'm just gonna walk over and stick my hands in that rib cage and try to get it out.
I'm going to go ahead and need you to make me a brawn and we'll say dexterity check.
All right, that's a lot of dice.
You're good at this.
This
That
isn't your
is
first
a-
corpse wrangling.
That's a 1 critical success.
Perfect. You slide it out expertly. You don't even disturb the skeleton. And what you pull out is about the size of your forearm. It looks like the tip of a spear. It is silvered, but not silver. It is more brilliant than silver, if that's even possible. And it's hard, very hard. The shaft would attach to it is long since gone, but the coupling is still there, and it looks like there's a small cross guard at the base of it. Upon it looks like the old rusted color, and as you move your finger across it, it's not rust, it's stained. You think that this is stained with blood. Do you show anybody or say anything?
I think I would take 1 extra second to kind of savor one non-physically attacking someone win, but I will eventually say, "Hey, you two, what do you make of this one? It's shiny."
And as you step forward, I'm going to need you to roll me a d6 again, please.
Okay.
Oh no.
Well, it's a 1.
Oh, I love your dice. I love your dice so much. As you are all marveling at your discoveries, and before the professor or Natalia or Vic can get a good look at what Savar is holding, you hear a loud crack, followed by another loud crack, followed by even more thunderous cracking as the ship starts to move again, rolling to its side, righting itself with you in the hold, the treasure spilling back across the floor, and you feel yourselves dropping. I'm going to need a reaction roll from everybody. And I need you to tell me how you are keeping yourself from just jostling about this compartment willy-nilly. We'll start with Savar.
I feel like this is going to be a stunt for sure. And got to be brawn. I'm just going to try to back myself in between some of the timbers of the hull and wedge myself in, push out with all the pressure I can, and hope that I can hang on.
Sounds wonderful. Let's make that roll, please.
It is critical success.
Beautiful. That is exactly what we're looking for. We will describe that in a second as we go through the everybody else. So, Liz, what does Vic do?
I'm gonna try endure and focus. I was thinking I'd do the same thing Eric did, but Eric just did it.
There's nothing that says you
So
can't.
there's a
We've all watched
Yeah.
The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. It's fine.
So there's a false bottom, and we pulled out some planks out of it, but I'm sure there must still be a framework. I'm going to try and grab on to kind of the framework at the bottom of the ship that was hiding this bottom and just hang on for dear life, maybe wedging my legs against the wall, and just trying to hold on and keep myself balanced even as we're tumbling.
Okay. You go ahead and make that roll for me.
That's a critical success.
Beautiful. That's what we love to see. We're going to move over to Natalia real quick.
Okay, as everything started, was Savar still holding that spear to head?
Savar still has it secured. Like, Savar has it. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Okay, no, that's not what I'm asking. Could I take it as he's going to do the thing he's doing? Could I just grab it out of his hand?
That is a question for Savar, if he's going to let you try to grab it when he's in the middle of trying to save himself.
I have no problems with that and chuck it over as soon as I realize that Natalia's looking for it.
Okay.
Okay, I am going to jump to the hold entrance, which was below us, but is rapidly becoming above us. And I'm going to try to use this thing like an improvised pitar, because it's ridiculously, strangely hard, and I have a theory what it might be. I'm going to try to jam it into the thing so that when this thing comes back over, if the door tries to close, this thing will be in the wood and blocking it so it can't close all the way.
Clever girl. Go ahead and make that roll.
And I'm going to be holding on to it while I'm doing that. So I think that's probably stunt.
I think that's stunt as well.
I think either crime or brawn. I don't know which. So I'm going to just go with crime.
I don't know that crime
go
would
ahead.
be necessarily applicable in this particular instance. I would say focus or brawn, maybe.
Okay, I'll go with brawn then. It's 6 dice. Come on. Okay, that's... Well, I got 2 successes, so I'm going to just re-roll. This is a reaction type thing?
It is a reaction.
You said? Okay, so I get free re-rolls on reactions. So. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I now have 4 successes.
Perfect. You managed to do exactly as you say, and we'll get to that the details of that in a moment. Professor Raymond, you're next.
I'm going to jump forward and hold on to the sturdiest thing in the room, which doesn't seem to be the ship at all. I think it's that throne that the dead man is sitting on.
Yes, it is.
Because it has not moved an inch in any of this. Unfortunately for Raymond, I think this is still a bad roll for him. I think this is brawn plus endure, which is not a good combination for him, but I think it's the most true to what he's trying to do. Luckily, that is 3 6s for a critical success.
Beautiful. You managed to actually wedge yourself beneath the chair and the platform that it's on, because you successfully and accurately detailed that it's not going anywhere. You don't have anything to worry about. So you go ahead and do that without any issue, and you are perfectly fine. So from the top, Savar wedges himself into as soon as seeing or feeling the motion and the drop, wedges themselves between the beams and the side of the hull of the vessel. Vic, much seeing the same, secures herself as well. Natalia grabs the spear as Savar notices that Natalia is going for the spear and throws it at her and wedges it exactly in the hinged portion of the doorway, the trap door, to make sure that the trap door does not close, which is a good thing you did, because the way this was rolling, it absolutely would have slammed shut on you. And you would have been in a position where maybe there was a ladder or stairs here before, but getting back up there and getting leverage is going to be a pain in the tuchus. And then Raymond has successfully wedged himself in, and you all manage to take no damage as this thing descends. And it descends for quite a few moments, but it lands with a discernible thud as it hits, and you all hear a splash. But the hull of the ship doesn't splinter like you think it would. Water doesn't come pouring into the hull. Instead, the vessel seems to have freed itself from its moors and has landed into a section of what can only be assumed is boiling sea. I assume that everybody's going to make their way to the deck.
Yeah, I'm going to try to help people get up here. Like, I'll be basically like holding my hand down, and when they jump up, I'll pull them until they can get to a place where they can get themselves situated.
All right, you all make your way to the deck, and as you make your way there, you see that the rumbling is continuing.
Don't forget your spear.
Do you toss it back to Savar?
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Okay.
Wouldn't want to forget my souvenir.
That thing is much more than a souvenir, my friend.
The vessel is upright and is absolutely buoyant. It is perfectly fine. You have no clue how this has happened, but it is perfectly fine in this moment. But the cavern itself seems to be disintegrating. But you all notice as you look up that the rigging that you thought was secure to the ship actually wasn't. It appears that it was actually secure around the ship and is still actually up there. The ship has been released through it, and it looks like a series of pulleys and ropes are starting to come undone, almost as if this ship was a linchpin keeping things together. And the ship starts moving forward. You're not sure by what power. There's no wind here. There's no motor in this vessel. And
is there a tiller?
There's a tiller at the back of it, yes.
Is there current that's carrying us?
Surprisingly, no. We're gonna get to that.
Our fall would have given us maybe some momentum. I'm just looking out at the water, trying to think of a logical explanation for this.
I'm gonna try and get to the tiller so that if it looks like we start heading towards a wall or something, I can try to do something. Otherwise, I'm not gonna touch it.
Absolutely. You manage to get back to the tiller, no problem. The vessel starts moving forward as the cavern continues to crumble down around you. And if you notice, you're heading straight for what looks like the wall of the cavern. But as you do so, it starts to fall away as well, revealing what looks like almost an underground riverway of this boiling water. And it is very hot, not in so much that you can't survive. It is just extremely uncomfortable right this moment.
Looks like we're directly over a volcanic vent now.
Almost like you're exactly directly over a volcanic vent where this water has settled, possibly over eons of ice melting into it and above it and not being able to evaporate because as it moves up, it freezes and turns into those icicles directly above you, freezing internally to this old, long, dormant volcano. The pathway of this river leads out through pure darkness. It looks exactly purposely large enough for this vessel to travel through. And after tons of rumbling, as you see the cavern collapse behind you, the water moving you forward, you start to see more light. And it seems like there's light underneath the water. And as you look over the edge, you start to see what looks like rails. As if something is mechanically propelling this vessel forward on rails. You let go of the tiller and it's fine. It's going perfectly straight. And before too long, you see daylight, pure unadulterated daylight as you breach into the ocean around Greenland on this particular mountain. The tunnel collapses behind you and you all breathe a sigh of relief until you hear click, 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 as bony hands start to pull themselves over the side of the vessel. Dressed in ancient Viking garb, wielding weapons of various states of disarray, a dozen pallid forms stare at you through eyeless holes. Their mouths left open in a permanent rictus. They lumber forward, and all look towards the professor,
Oh no.
as in
Oh,
his
dear.
hand he still holds the dial. We are now entering combat with entities of unknown origin. They look very much akin, for the sake of easy description, gaunt White Walkers almost, but like much more.
Waterlogged corpses that have been dead for a long
Yes,
time, sort of thing.
exactly, and possibly preserved by frozen water for who knows how long.
Hmm.
And that turns it to you guys. We are in combat, and as we talked about off camera, we'll talk about here. Combat in Outgunned is actually done in a alternating activation way, sort of. The player characters each of an action that they can take on their turn. Quick actions are things that they can do if they have abilities that give them special actions, but generally tend to be stuff like interacting with an object, moving, closing the gap, things like that. An action is the big set piece of that particular moment and scene that that character is going to engage in. And then they have a reaction, which is they get to react to things that I do to them. Once their pie chart of 4 actions is done, I get to take actions with my creations. And I get to take an equal number of actions to the number of actions that they have. As they move through my encounter, I lose action points essentially, and I lose reactions. And they can choose to do what they will with whatever time they have as far as their setup goes. There is no initiative in Outgunned. Players decide collectively who goes, which is why this is a game generally targeted at smaller groups, because it makes it easier to go through. So you have what looks like about a dozen of these things now bearing down on you out of the water. And the floor is yours. Who is going to start things off?
How far away are they from us?
There's maybe like 10, 20 feet between you and the nearest one, if that.
Did they come up as a group, or they come over all sides of the vessel?
All sides of the vessel.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, it's my time to shine, so I'm gonna run over to the one that seems like it has made its way onto everything first, and try to get at it with a jab.
All right, go for it. That is going to be some form of fighting, and obviously that's going to fall into the brawn category, and probably brawn fight.
Use the
Yeah,
spear.
I finally get to use my fight points.
You do.
And let's see, I do get a reroll for all action when fighting in melee. So a basic roll is now a basic success is now a look at that, extreme success. 4 6s.
All right, fantastic. That is going to, let's say you take a grit, or you take wow, I can't even talk. I apologize. Today has been a long day. You haul back and just make a running lunge at one of these things, and you just manage to pop it. And a critical success is generally much more than a regular hit. A normal hit will deal 1 point of grit on average. A critical success will then deal 2. An extreme success will then deal 3. I believe that is close enough for what we're doing right now that we're just going to go with it. This may be inaccurate. I apologize, but we're again, we're all learning here. So you managed to take this thing's head clean off. Doesn't look like it's very well attached. And we're going to knock down this from the 12 grit that this mob of things have to 10. As not only do you take its head off, but you manage to punch it clean into the torso of another one, which punches a hole in its center mass and causes its rib cage to splinter, where it tends to lose control of its arms. It may try to gnash at you at some point, but as of right now, your critical success has potentially eliminated 2 of the dozen threats. Who's next?
Well, I have a pistol. I'm going to try to get one right through the head. I'm not sure about killing the undead this way, but it's the best idea I've got.
Go for it.
I would like to use. Can I use focus and shoot?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I got
Oh, I
2
apologize. The critical
successes.
success is three grit loss, so you have taken 3 out. You have nine left. Go ahead.
I got a normal success, but I'm going to re-roll. And I got a critical success.
Wonderful. You line up your shot perfectly, darting back. You take your gun out, and at first you go to shoot, and you realize that you never actually cleaned out your gun from the water
Oh no.
damage. It clicks a couple times. You look at it, you shake it a few more times, and in almost like a comedy movie sequence, you point it back at and
little,
go ahead.
A little percussive maintenance. Give it a whack.
Give it a whack and then point it out, and it fires steadily this time and manages to pierce through 3 of them, taking another 3 out, reducing the grit down from 9 to 6. Next. Natalia or Raymond?
Go right ahead, Natalia, please.
Okay. The sail has a thinner than average mast, and the cross beams where the sails would go, right?
Yeah.
So how hard do I think it would be to swing this thing?
You don't know until you try.
All right. What I want to do is I want to basically kind of do the opposite of what I did before, where I used the thing to give myself momentum and throw myself up into the hold. I'm going to jump up on it, grab the mast, and use it to pull me and spin the whole yard arm, for lack of a better word, to try and swack it into as many of them as I can and just knock them off the boat so they can't get to Raymond.
All right.
And I guess that's stunt.
I'd say that qualifies as a stunt, yeah.
I guess either brawn or focus. I think brawn makes more sense.
I think so too.
Because it's just raw power. Yeah, that's 3 successes. That's a critical. And there's no reason to go higher, is there?
No. Well, yes, there is. The more success you get on this one, the more grit you remove from the enemy, and these are just basic defense enemies.
So, if I fail to get any more successes, like any more dice to add to the successes, do I lose this success?
No.
Okay, then I'm going to try. Yeah, another 6.
Okay.
So yeah, that's 4.
All right, you managed to take 4 of these things, and you were aiming to send them overboard, but they're shambling corpses. They splinter upon contact with the boom.
That's fine. I just didn't. I'm glad that happened, but I didn't know if it would, so I just went to try to get rid of them.
Oh no, you're perfectly fine. That I'm just trying to explain it in a way that makes visual sense for those at home. Which leaves 2 left and Raymond to go.
Oh man, the problem is Raymond is not much of a fighter, so I want to try something that I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know if Raymond knows if this is going to work.
Excellent.
I want to brandish that key of Odin that we've had this whole time.
Okay.
And just yell at them in his most imperious voice, "Stand down, ye rude corpses! We sail for Atlantis, and you need to go back to your watery grave."
All right, what is this going to be here?
I think this is nerves and speech.
Go for it.
Just a basic success. That's not fun, so I'm going to reroll. 3 3s as a critical success.
I will say that it doesn't remove any grit from them, but it does cause them to pause. Not so much that what you said maybe had any effect on them, but more so that you're brandishing the dial in front of them. And as you sweep it from like side to side and waving it around, you notice that their heads track it. Like cats going after like a laser pointer.
Good enough.
which then moves it to my turn with what I have left here. And I think these two guys are going to make a lunge for you. Now, again, this is everybody has a chance to do a reaction, but they're going to get 2 attempts to lunge, which means you have to use at least 2 successful reactions to stop that from happening. So whoever wants to go first, take your shot.
Yeah, since I'm up here, I'm gonna. This thing's tied to the mast, right?
Yeah, it does actually have rigging. There's still a sail that's intact.
Okay. Do I see any place on this thing where if I put a bullet in it, the whole thing would just come off? I'll spend a luck to do this.
You're trying to get the boom to fall? What is your intention here?
I want to drop it on them. Like it doesn't have to be the boom. It could be the sail. Just anything that would keep them from being able to properly target him, whether it's hitting them with the boom or dropping the sail on them. I don't care.
Sure. You know what? We'll say that at the top of at the connection point of the rigging, you could potentially knock out enough that to bring the sail down on them. Go for it. Yeah, we'll say that's possible.
So stunt, would we go with focus on that or crime or whatever? These are the same stat from me.
Go for it.
Okay.
And for those of you at home, I know that I'm taking liberties with this, but I don't care because it's an action movie and nothing has to make sense. And yes, I know that doesn't necessarily have a boom, but it's cool.
3 successes.
You managed to completely release the sail, and it falls on top of both of them, momentarily trapping them like children under a game of like under a school blanket. So yeah, they have been at least halted from their lunge for right this second, but everybody else still has a reaction.
I think since I've distracted them and they're following me, I want to try to use that to my advantage by kind of like leading them in ways where their lunge isn't effective. Like, hold the thing out to the side like the laser pointer example, and try to get them to like lunge to the side as they come out from under the thing.
You do notice as you make movement, they are following you even under the sail.
Yeah, I kind of figured that maybe the Walking Dead don't actually need eyes to see, which is troubling. But I feel like that is at least a dexterity roll as I try to stay out of their way. Maybe this is focus. I'm trying to lock in. I'm trying to lead them somewhere specific.
I would say focus and dexterity seems to fit here.
Which is facing away from the actual punchy shooty adventurers. So let's see. So that is a basic success. Let's see let's push it. Pushing it's fun. That is a critical success. 3 1s. Only time I've ever been happy to see 3 1s.
You are successfully staying ahead of them and leading them essentially in a goose chase, combined with them being under the sails that keeps you out of the range of any lunges that they were going to have, but also sort of keeps them on off footing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say that they wind up colliding into each other, and one of them takes out the other accidentally, reducing this to a single grit. Vic or Savar, do you have anything you would like to do in this moment?
I would like to make sure. I would like to make sure Vic is between these things and Raymond, because I've seen them tracking Raymond, and even though I know he's the squishiest of us, not that I would ever say that out loud.
You do not have to say it. It's obvious.
And
he's like a little baby bird. We must make sure to take care of him. He is cute.
Just make sure I'm standing in the way, not necessarily attacking or pushing them away, but just getting between them, and maybe use endure and brawn or endure and nerves. Those are both the same, so
either one.
I just realized I didn't ask you this. Could we attack in this reaction?
Not yes, but no. So
Okay.
when you take a reaction, like if they were to make contact with you or succeed in the lunge, you can technically attack back if you get above their defense, but you have to basically tell me how you do that or how you turn that into an attack, essentially.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to know if I'd screwed up.
So I got a success and I rerolled and I got a critical success.
All right. Well, I guess let's say the last point of grit's going to fall away here. Tell me how that looks.
Like I see how they're tracking Raymond, and I see one kind of lunging for him, and I barrel between them, and it, as it runs at me instead of Raymond, I get my elbow up and like crack it in the head, just trying to push it off me.
Yeah, I think as you do that, you snap it back in such a way that it literally just disintegrates. These things are not exactly made out of the sternest of stuff. Maybe they were at one time, maybe closer to when they were actually alive, they would have been more formidable.
Yeah, 1,000 years.
But with that,
It's not,
a calm sort of falls into place. You move the sail out of the way. You move the rigging pieces and everything cleared out. You sweep the corpses off the deck of the ship, and you are now actually truly honestly sailing with your one remaining sail that is active.
I'll climb this. I will spend time getting this sail put back up. I mean, it's just time.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'll try to make I'll assist and try to make sure the rigging is looking good. I'm not super good at this, but I have a couple points in drive, which can be used for
anything. Sailing,
navigating vehicles.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I will say that you find that you were let out on the northern side of the mountain island. The entry point that you guys were in was the southern point. So you can start making your way around. I'm actually not going to make you roll for it because I think it's you have the knowledge. You know what you're doing for the most part with it. And honestly, it's not the first time you guys have been on a boat or a vessel with sails. So we're going to say that you're able to move back around. And what we see here is maybe a little bit of a flashback of the fishing vessel that you guys had chartered, where Wylock was staying behind. He paid for the expedition. He paid for the chartering of the vessel. And that's where you had basically been anchored to the southern point of the island. But as you come around the island to where you know that the ship is anchored, you notice two things. One, the fishing vessel is completely overrun by men in uniform. The uniform is very, very dark. And where there was just a fishing boat, there are now two Boeing 314 Clippers flanking it on almost either side. And trained on your ship is a very, very large gun. And you see Wylock clapping slowly. You assume that if you do not move forward, that your vessel will be sunk.
Well,
Not really in control of where the boat goes.
he's paying us to bring this treasure back. I mean, I think the guns feel a little unnecessary.
Yeah, this feels like the evil villain has decided he wants to save himself some money.
Yeah, he intends to make sure that he's the only one who knows about it. Well,
Perhaps.
minus his thumb. You've hired goons.
How's everyone at swimming? How do you feel about a nice swim?
In the North
Again?
Atlantic?
Okay. Just,
I mean, it
just
might be
figure we
necessary. It might be necessary. I'm just saying, North Atlantic, not my favorite.
Just evaluating our options. It's not like we have lifeboats on this thing.
I will say that if you make the decision to sort of coast in and not run for it, your gut tells you you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm not inclined to make a run for it because we're in a wooden Viking ship, and this is not my first choice, but
Yeah.
also a little concerned about the threat of violence.
Yeah, as you move in, Wylock is now standing in what looks like a matching uniform to the rest. A long, dark coat flows from his shoulders as it is. Have you ever seen the scene of M. Bison in Street Fighter where he's got like the coat that's not actually on, but it's like kind of like wearing it as a cape?
Yeah.
That is exactly what he's doing as he stops clapping and takes a hat out from under his arm, pops it up and puts it on. Very well done. You have done magnificent.
Does he have a red thing on his arm?
Yes, he does, as a matter of fact.
And it's got, say, a white circle and some...
We're going to say that iconography is present, but we're not going to dwell on it.
No, I just want to make sure that I'm
except
aware
it is,
that this
it
is
is
not a good person.
But it is not a symbol that you would expect from the real world. It looks like either a kraken or a head like flowing with snakes around it.
Gotcha. Like a Medusa head.
Almost like a Medusa head.
Oh no, it's Hydra instead. This isn't any better.
Very well done. You will hand over the disc, and as I am a man of my word, you will be paid handsomely. You may be allowed to both live and keep the treasure you have found. And he holds out his hand expectantly.
He has a lot of friends with guns, doesn't he?
Yeah, there are several what look like soldiers, more than you could probably safely take in this moment. This is the moment in the Indiana Jones movie where he gets a book signed in the middle of a very hostile territory.
and we don't have disguises. Oh
no, if only.
Yeah, surely if we were wearing the same uniforms, they would completely believe that we were meant to be here.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I'm not holding any of the discs, so that's not my call. Was what happens to them.
And
that seems fair.
I almost want to try to lie to him. From his gunboat perspective, was he able to see us fighting a bunch of skeletons?
You have no idea.
Hmm.
And in this moment, while you guys are deciding this, I will ask Savar a very important question.
Uh-oh.
Is the spearhead exposed, or what did you do with it?
The spearhead went back to Natalia.
No, Natalia gave it back to you. Natalia gave it back to you as soon as you were back on the deck. So, did Savar stow it away, or do you still hold it in your hand?
That spearhead is tucked in the back of my pants underneath my long, fluffy coat, which I've put back on reluctantly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to reluctantly hand him the disc because I could try to tell him that it got knocked over during a fight with the undead, but I don't think he'd believe me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for making this infinitely easier. Well then, off you go. And he points back to the Viking vessel.
Really?
Oh, I said I would let you
Hey, free boat.
I did not say anything about...
Boat?
Well, this is mine. You don't get to have mine. But...
How many of them are there?
Probably at least 30, maybe 40. Plus
army.
Plus you don't know what's in the clippers.
Not a fan of this plan. He's expecting us to sink on our way home in a ancient Viking ship crossing the ocean. Like
Sure
so
enough.
many others have done.
It worked at least once, you know.
Yep.
And it didn't
We
work
could-
a lot more times than that.
Options are fairly limited at this point. I would say we turn this thing and head south as fast as we can.
It sounds
Try to hug the coast.
sounds better than swimming.
From Greenland, it's not that far.
Well, there is more than this one mountain mass of Greenland that you could possibly find your
Yeah.
way to. It is not exactly hopeless.
Yeah.
All right. As that happens, you make the exchange. You get back onto the Viking vessel, which again is still incredibly sturdy for whatever reason. And you see that the clippers take off, and the vessel, and I'm going to air quote, fishing boat, starts to move off into the sunset. As you are left to your own devices, the sun is starting to come down a little bit low, the evening wind starting to pick up, and this is where credits are about to roll, and your characters have one last moment to say any pithy responses.
So, Raymond, does your museum have any interest in a well-preserved Viking ship?
Oh, plenty, but I'm sure they'd have more in whatever we could find by following. Savar, you do still have that spearhead, right?
Oh, you mean this paperweight? Yeah, Professor.
That
You
thing's
think it would,
probably orichalcum.
Well, whatever it is, if you think it'd look good on your desk, it's all yours.
I'm more interested in the disc you didn't give him, Raymond.
Oh, of course.
The
all
eye.
yours.
Upon looking
So we do have
a look closer at the eye, you notice that it has that same metallic sheen as the spear.
Alrighty.
And with that, the credits roll, the music flares, and our adventurers make their way back towards civilization with a treasure that Wylock did not know existed, and approximate knowledge of one that he does. With that, friends, we'll call it a wrap there. I do want to thank all of our players for joining us on this journey, and for everybody for bearing with me, as again, this is the first time running the system, and obviously making some caveats and some liberties here and there for the sake of I felt like it. I hope everybody had a good time. But yeah, that's Outgunned. For those of you that are interested at home, we'll see if we can put a link in the description for Two Mice, which is the company that makes the system. It is a very cinematic system that covers a lot of different genres. It is essentially made to be a movie game. So not only can you do the Outgunned Adventures, but there are several other ones. They have actually books called action flicks that cover everything from like Big Trouble in Little China to City of Killers, which is John Wick, to the basic Outgunned book, which is generic action movie number 7. There's a Fast and the Furious setting. There's a ton of really interesting takes on what the distillation of an action movie is. And by the time this is live, I think their Kickstarter is already done for a while now, but we are now eagerly awaiting their take on the superhero genre, which is, again, much more action, much less drama compared to what you may have heard on this show before. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Maybe we will play that at some point as well. Yeah, what did you guys think?
That was good.
I had a good time.
Guess
A
that
lot of
was
fun.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun.
I would
I wanna check out
definitely
some of
want
the
to play
other
more of
stuff
these
now.
characters.
What's that, Matt?
I would like to play another game with these characters.
Yeah, and that's for something the folks at home, we may revisit this in the future. The beautiful thing about this is it's made for this type of content too, right? It's made for 3-4 hour sessions, or little like miniature story arcs where like you can have 4 sessions and you've completed a story. And it works really well with that. And you can always revisit it. You can change characters in and out as sequels hit, which makes it really nice for players that come and go. And you can then do stuff like we did here, where we left it at a little bit of a cliffhanger, where there's 2 different potential stories to pursue here if the players decide to later on down the road. So, yeah. But I do. Thank you very much, folks. And at this point, I'll throw it over to myself for the outro. We'll catch you next time. Blizzard Watch is made possible due to the generous contributions at patreon.com/blizzardwatch. Your continued support means that this podcast site and community is able to thrive and grow. Blizzard Watch supporters enjoy exclusive benefits like early access to the podcast, better chance at having your question answered on our podcast or the queue, and an ads-free site experience. That, folks, we'll see you next time.